issue with Venezuela continues to be in the news. And on this program, from very early, we were saying that this issue requires a certain course of action. We call on the government to launch an education program. They did indicate recently that they intend to do so. We said that the parliament should sit to discuss this issue. I noted that parliament is scheduled to have an extraordinary sitting on Friday, I think 10 o'clock in the morning, to discuss this issue. But even with that, I noted last night there's a lot of wrangling as to what they say, some figures. I think the opposition had requested the figures of the number of Venezuelans in the country or not. And the Minister of Foreign Affairs is reported to have made a statement which I find very outrageous. He said that if they want, they can go to immigration. That's the opposition, and they can get the information from immigration because that is where the government got the information from. I want to know in which world this Minister of Foreign Affairs is living in, because he may recall that I think it was 2020 when the immigration people were asked about information in relation to certain persons who were not in Guyana and were accused of voting when they were not here. And they provided the accurate information to say several of those persons were not in Guyana at the time of the election, even though the records reflected that they voted. Let them check to see what has happened to those persons. On the 24th of December 2020, Minister of Home Affairs Robeson-Ben sent a list with the names of some of those persons. They are accused of trafficking in person. They were accused of tampering with electronic data and all of those things for providing the accurate information to the authorities at the time. Those persons that are accused, and they are sidelined on today like today, 3 years after. So I don't know what the Minister of Foreign Affairs is talking about. Go to, I think first of all, they're going to give the royal runaround, and perhaps justifiably so, because if they give you the information, they are going to be victimized. There is no doubt about that. They are going to be victimized. And therefore, to ask the opposition to approach the immigration to get the information. You have the information, you said, pass the information on. What is it you are afraid of? Pass the information on. So it is sad to see that even though the parliamentary opposition and the government met on this matter, and they have agreed to a joint session of parliament, extraordinary session of parliament on Friday, that people are still wrangling and nitpicking over this issue. We would have thought that you would have shown the type of unity that such a situation requires. The people we should fight against are the Venezuelans, not ourselves, regardless of which political party we belong to. We should not be bickering over this. It's a simple and straightforward thing. Simple and straightforward. And one of the things we have been calling for on this program too is the removal of the word Policia. And now we say Policia, but my Spanish-speaking friend said the word is pronounced Policia, of the police vehicles. We did a short clip on that issue about a month or a half, a month or 2 months ago. And that thing went viral on social media. It has over 103,000 views. And you have lots of comments. And 99% of the comments are positive. And people are against the placing of this Spanish word on the police vehicle and in police stations as well. We have been talking about it. During the course of our demonstrations in front of the Venezuelan embassy, we have been calling for that to be removed. We have been calling for it to be removed. And last Saturday, there was a meeting that the second vice president had. I understand that Dazel was in scheme. And let me play it for you what the vice president said. It's not alleged to have said, it's in your own words. You know, the police corporate communication, you'd like to use alleged. The vice president, the second vice president said, and listen to it, it's a very short clip. Let me play it for you.
So let me explain to you. It's it's misguided. The police should have never put Policia there. What? They should have, it's misguided. They should have never. It's not the emblem. It's not the emblem. It's just the name. It's still our emblem, the Guyana Police Force. But they put Policia in Spanish. They were instructed to change that. They were instructed to change that. They must put police. They can put in small letters Policia and in Portuguese, in Spanish, etc. because the people who are here need to know what our police are, so they don't get, when the police put on the siren, they get away. But our main thing is, anywhere you go to the...
America, yeah. You know how many countries in America, right? And you're just one
No. I travel around. I go to Europe. They got three different things on it. But the key thing is police. Where Guyana is English speaking, and they must put police at the top, and they were instructed to change that. Okay? So that was the instruction to the police force. It's misguided. Should not have happened.
It's misguided, should and not have happened. I mean, the first part, something there, yeah. But again, who gave the instruction for Policia to be placed on the vehicle? You think it's the squatter? I don't know. You think it's the squatter just decide that Policia should be there? You think that? And the second vice president is saying that instructions have been passed for this thing to be removed. It didn't, as far as I'm aware, it didn't move yet. It is not moved yet. And how much money was paid, expended to have this thing done? And while he's talking about the signs on the police vehicles, there are also Spanish and other foreign language signs in police stations and all the thing. And for the second vice president to be telling us, remove Policia, but you can place it in small writing. What nonsense is this man talking? What is he on? Has he failed to take his medication or what? No foreign language should be on the police vehicle, none. And as we have said on this program, especially in the part of Guyana claimed by Venezuela, Essequibo, the Spanish-speaking Venezuelans, imagine you have Policia placed on the vehicles in an area that is claimed by Venezuela. You have Spanish signs in the police stations. What nonsense, what rubbish is the vice president telling us but small letters? And my understanding too, I don't know any foreign language, that Policia in Spanish and Policia in Portuguese is the same thing. So you come and tell you where they put it in Spanish or you put it in Portuguese and all of that. Same thing. English is our language and that is the only thing should be there. But these things should not be viewed in isolation. Because remember, it's not so long ago that the president said, President Irfan Ali said, that Spanish will be compulsory in our schools. So perhaps this is all part of a bigger plan. But let me read what the police had said at the time when this thing blew, because I think it was Gordon Mosley who broke this news. They were quiet. They never said anything that, well, we're going to do this. When people started to remark on this Spanish word, the police issued a statement that hear what the statement said. In an effort to provide a more broad-based and efficient professional police service to all Guyanese, including the influx of foreign nationals, especially those speaking Spanish, the Guyana Police Force has decided to include Policia on all police vehicles. The force vehicles will have police in English, along with the Guyana Police Force logo. Policia, the Spanish for police, will be placed at the bottom of the English writing. This is also in keeping with the Guyana Police Force's comprehensive and forward-thinking strategic plan 2022 to 2026 to be inclusive and build partnership as the Guyana Police Force forges ahead to be a modern law enforcement organization. It should also be noted that the Guyana Police Force's Academy is currently facilitating the teaching of different languages, including Spanish, Portuguese, and Mandarin to rank. That is what the police said. So the police are saying this is part of the 2022-2026 strategic plan. So how can the vice president now say that it is misguided? So you're suggesting that the whole strategic plan might have been misguided? All of this is BS. All of this is hogwash, as one of the viewers here said. So let me ask Mr. Conway, my colleague, to come in and have his comment on this part of the thing before I come back. I know CC like he knows. Yeah, CC, your comments on this decision to, well, the statement made by the Vice President. What is your take on that?
Perhaps, as you mentioned, maybe the Vice President didn't have his medication. Let me say the second Vice President didn't have his medication. That this thing has been for a long time. Policia, Spanish on our police buildings, Spanish on our police vehicles. And we facilitating, we making things easy for Venezuela, a country that has claimed 2/3 of Guyana, and we have this kind of writings on our thing. Part of the statement by the police, it was done in an effort to provide more broad-based and efficient professional police service to all Guyanese. What is that? To provide that could provide more broad-based and efficient professional police service to all Guyanese. And here we go. Maybe somebody got to listen to English with Lucy, including, we talk about police service in Guyana, including the influx of foreign nationals, especially those speaking Spanish. What kind of language is that? I listen to the Vice President and his language isn't clear. He's confusing. He's talking about taking it down, and then he's talking about putting it in small writings. What kind of nonsense is that? That, you know, I'm so upset with what I heard. But I hope that very quickly, and you know, when you look at this thing, Paul, you ask so much questions. It was misguided. Who misguided who? Did it come from the president? Did it come from this extended squatter? Did it come from the Minister of Home Affairs? Did it come from the Vice President itself? Who that thing came from? So who misguided who? And if person were misguided, are there any sanctions? Are there any action to be taken? The second Vice President said they instructed to take it down. Nothing has been done. Nothing has been done. They continue to paint it put it on the buildings. They continue to put it on the vehicles. Total nonsense. And what we should have gotten from the Vice President, the second Vice President, is a comprehensive statement. Be clear. Come good. You're wrong. Come good. Clear, concise, accurate statement. Be lucid. Don't tell me that you're putting it in big word, in bold figures, but you're putting it in small letters. Crazy. Wrong.
If it's just to be taken off, it's just be taken off completely. You can't come and tell us that you're going to put it in small writing so that people can recognize. You're suggesting to people that they have to see the word police or policia to recognize a police vehicle, a marked police vehicle, because I can't understand that you're going to put any writing on an unmarked vehicle. So that is what the second Vice President is telling the Guyanese people, that in order for people to, foreign language people to recognize a police vehicle that has a distinguished color, blue and white, we know them when we see them from afar, many of them flashing lights, policemen in uniform, and you're telling me, or you're telling the Guyanese, that in order for you to recognize the vehicle as being a police vehicle, you have to have the word policia written in small letters in Spanish, in Portuguese, and perhaps other languages. That is utter rubbish. And I noted that they talk about the signs on the police vehicles, they can't the second Vice President to be removed. But they'll talk about the signs in the police station, including the Spanish sign at Springlands Police Station. Springland borders Suriname, a Dutch-speaking country. but they get punished in that on that police station. And I say again, the people are pouring into Guyana in large numbers. We reported here on Monday that over the last weekend, several persons were rounded up. Several Venezuelan illegal persons entering the country illegally were rounded up and in the Essequibo, I think the Siana Regina area, and taken back to the border. They need to have a sustained campaign to make sure that all illegal Venezuelans are taken out of the country. And let me say this clearly. This is not about being xenophobic. Some people talk about what happened in other countries and all of that. And we went to Venezuela during the hard times. We never laid claim to territory belonging to Venezuela. Venezuela has laid claim to 2/3 of our territory. And therefore, I am saying that it is dangerous to allow those forces to come to invade. This is a soft invasion. Because in my view, this invasion that we're talking about with Venezuela is not military people coming in and taking over the place. It's an invasion like this, the Venezuelan nationals coming in with their families, establishing settlements, enclaves in the play area that they claim. And then later on down the road, we will get a situation like what happened in Ukraine, where the Russians invade the eastern part because they say they had a lot of Russian speaking. Crimea, I'm referring to a lot of Russian speakers. We have got to be extremely careful with this thing. We have got to be extremely careful, and the government has to have a proper policy to deal and to regularize those forces. If, as some people are claiming, that look, they have claim to Guyanese citizenship, well, go through the process. Go through the process. But people just come in and being let loose in the society. It is dangerous. We saw a few weeks ago where 3 Venezuelans were arrested in Region 1. They had unlawful, they had pistols, they had cocaine, drugs. And the question therefore, how many more like that we have in the system? People have said with justification that we might have a situation, many of the people coming here are not refugees. They are military personnel. This thing to me seems to be strategic because you may recall that it is since Venezuela ratcheted up this thing in recent times that you have this large influx or the large inflow of, and the people calling them migrants, they're migrants, refugees into Guyana. And we have got to be extremely, extremely careful. We have got to be extremely careful. Having said that, I also noted a video circulating where it appears that someone, Guyanese it looked like, stripped 2 persons, a male and a female. The female seems clearly Spanish speaking because she couldn't understand what was being told to her. The other guy who was with her, who seems to be a Guyanese and understand the Venezuelan language, the Spanish, had to interpret for her. They stripped them naked skin on some road and send them up. It was a night. And that is wrong. That is wrong. And I don't know what they are accusing them of, but I think the person said something about that they are thieves or that. I am saying that that is wrong, and the government need to deal with that very quickly because you're going to get xenophobia where people seeing Spanish-speaking people and injuring them, and you don't want that. So you have to have a proper arrangement to deal with this issue. We cannot allow, no country can allow foreign nationals to just cross the border and come in. And people have asked, what happened to all of these boats they're coming with? Have these boats been seized, or are these boats allowed to go free and to shuttle more people and come in? Questions have to be answered so that we can be satisfied that the proper and correct action or actions are being taken in this matter. Let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to say